So when you first open Corel Painter 2020, you're going to get a welcome box that will appear right here. And this box has a lot of valuable resources, so I always recommend that you look it over. There's tutorials, webinars. The setup is typically when you first get started, until you have your own layout saved. This is the layouts that you can choose from. For photographers wanting to clone paint, which is what I'm going to be focusing on, the Photoart layout is the one you will choose, and I'll change to that here in just 1 second so that we're all on the same page. But another thing, item that they added in 2020 was the performance, and you can look and see if your computer meets the specifications and can run Painter efficiently. And when you click it, it does its little thing, and then it'll tell you, for me, I exceed and it's excellent. Some people I've spoke to in the past have had graphics card issues. So you just need to look into that, because for brush performance and crash issues, or you're definitely going to want to make sure you have a good system to run Painter. What's new? You can go through and see. I think the further you go down is older information, but it'll have like bundle and save. This is just you can learn more on each individual things, but this is like on brush packs. Tutorials, I absolutely recommend. In 2020, they came out with the color harmonies, so you can go and look in how to use the color harmonies. Information on the Wacom Art Pen, which I absolutely recommend. I didn't know about it at first until I've got one myself, and you can have full barrel rotation on your pen. And I'll get into that more, but it's separate from your Wacom tablet. So if you the standard pen does not do what the Art Pen does, and I think the Art Pen runs around $75 to $80 if you order it from Amazon. I think that's how much I got mine for. Creating brushes, you can watch a webinar on it. I would wait until you get Corel down a little bit more before you start trying to make your own brushes. But anyway, so the tutorials are fabulous. This is Karen Bonneker. She is wonderful. She runs a digital art community tutorials and webinars that is fabulous. Cher Pendarvis does a lot of landscapes, and she has webinars through Painter too. So when you look at the tutorials, you can get other artists' names and seek them out either on their websites or on YouTube. And they offer a great amount of information. And for photographers, Heather the Painter, Heather Chin, Heather Michelle, she is incredible. So you need to look her up too. So basically, the setup is where you would choose whatever your layout's going to be. And I'm going to go ahead and choose Photoart, and it's going to change the layout that you see back here. But we'll go ahead and do that, and it will bring up a standard layout that is needed for the digital art, for cloning a picture. Now, I'm going to go over a couple more things. I move my stuff around because I'm used to having it in different locations. But for the photo art, it's going to have your clone source, which means you'll have a photo open that you're cloning from as you paint. So it's going to have this panel open, your colors and your color panel, and then down here is your layers. The layers is the exact same as it is in Photoshop if you are familiar with Photoshop. So we'll go over that. And then for clone, if you want to do an automatic painting, that's what this down here is, the underpainting, auto painting, and restoration. And we'll go through that here in just a little while. The other things that you would need to know, if you go under Edit, well, actually, let me show you. This is your toolbar, your brush tool, dropper tool if you're wanting to select a color, paint bucket, gradient. The gradient works a little bit differently than it does in Photoshop because you'll have a whole bunch of preset gradients that come with 2020. Your eraser tool in 2020, they changed. It's wonderful. It used to be that it was only one type of, it was like a round eraser, but now you can choose a brush for your eraser so that it can mimic, if you're needing to remove something, paint in the same style other than, in the same paint stroke style other than in a round. The layer adjustment, rectangular selection, lasso, all these work the same, and we'll do a little bit more on them. This is your dodge and burn. This is mirror painting, which is fun. I'll have one whole session on that. Grabber tool, magnifier. One thing to know, this right here is a rotate page. If you're a traditional artist, sometimes you'll, and you're filling stuff in, coloring, painting, you'll turn your image around upside down, etc., and step away to look at it or to work on it. Same, that's what this is. You can actually, instead of having your page on here perfectly square, you can rotate your page as you work on it. And then this just changes your layout. So that is the toolbar. This is the menu bar. It's depending on what tool you have selected, just like in Photoshop, it's going to bring up different options. And then let me see, like if you choose the gradient, you can see all the different gradients that they offer. And then the style. It's also very familiar to the Photoshop layout, if that's what you're familiar with. You just have to work with this to see just how closely related it is. I do prefer, when it comes to painting, I prefer Corel Painter, but I do paint in Photoshop. But the layouts, when I use both of them, are very same, but they offer different things, especially the auto painting and clone painting. Okay, so if you go under Edit, then Preferences, and General, this is going to bring up how you have Corel Painter set up. So one of the things that I have done on my brush cursor, I have it to brush ghost so that I can see what my dab or my paint tip, my brush tip, what my brush stroke is going to look like. So that is one thing that I do have set. You can change your color, angle. The only, angle is interesting because I was complaining, I got to check this out. As I was moving my art pen, the actual brush ghost was not rotating with it. So I'm going to leave this. I'm going to change this to 360 and see if that's going to change it. Let me see anything else that I know. I changed my background to dark gray, or the background color to gray. This is just where you get in here, look at it, see what you prefer. Performance, I do not touch. There might be, if you want to change where your scratch drive is, I'm looking. No, I don't change anything there. Shapes I don't do. Cloning, open clone source panel, clear canvas. This is just preferences. You can leave it the way Corel has it initially starting out, and then as you get more familiar with it, you might want to change things, but you can always look here and see how I have mine set up. So, okay. So, and then, I want to just see. I'll look at that in a minute. I didn't save my setting where I changed my brush rotation, but I'll do that now. And, oh, it did save it. Okay.